Welcome to Thunder Bay Live. I'm here today with Heli Kijanen, and Heli is one of the people that started the RCMP lawsuit a couple years ago. Heli, is that right?
About 5 to 6 years ago, yeah, 2011.
2011. We're here today to discuss what happened, why it happened, and where we are today. So Heli, I'd like you to tell the people of Thunder Bay out there how this thing started. First of all, start from the beginning when you joined the RCMP.
Okay, so although I joined the RCMP way back in 2007 actually, and when I was sent to, it's a very vigorous process as well. It's Canada's National Police Force, so it's something they take very seriously. You go through psychological testing, you go through your fitness testing, you go through a year, it's a year-long process, your exams, just to get into depot. And when you get to depot in Regina, it's a 6-month process to create and form a Mountie. So I did that in 2007, the first time. However, I was unsuccessful. I have 2 little children, and I was sent home after 3 months. I was crushed. I was broken, because what they do, and this makes sense, is that to form a Mountie, to build a Mountie, you're there for 6 months. For the first 3 months, they break you down, and the next 3 months, they're building you up to that superior police officer they want you to be. But when you're sent home halfway through at 3 months, you're broken. So I came home broken.
Oh, wow. And
when the plane landed, I was like, oh my God, like I'm a failure, like I can't have this happen because I'm a Finlander and I have Sisu power. So I decided as soon as the plane landed, I'm going back. I immediately contacted them. I went through the whole process again. That was a whole year, psychological testing, physical testing, my exams. It took me a year to get back in. So when I finally got back to depot, this being my second time, I completed the 6-month program. So they built a Mountie in 6 months, and I came out strong, powerful, and ready to be part of Canada's National Police Force. I was sent to a detachment that was toxic, and I had heard word of this place being toxic. I feared that a little bit, but I know that I'm a great communicator. I'm strong physically and mentally, and I can do my best duty out there for the public, and that was my goal.
Okay, so let's stop right there for a second. So when you say this, what you had heard it was a toxic environment. What kind of things did you hear about the place that you were going to, and how were you preparing yourself? I know you got good communication skills, obviously. So what were you thinking, and how were you going to handle it?
I was fearful, okay. But of course I was nervous and fearful because I'm now a cop. I mean, I'll be carrying around a weapon, a gun, and so the whole experience to me was very new. But now learning that it was already toxic, I had to prepare myself to be extra spectacular and an extra great communicator, and to be over and above so I wouldn't be sucked into anything. And I did. And the first year at my detachment was amazing. And my guys that I worked with were amazing, and they were not the problem. It was my second year when problems arose and management decided to target me out as an individual that they no longer wanted to have around, and unfortunately it all went downhill in my second year.
So when they say target you as an individual they want to get rid of, had you seen that happen before to other people, male or female?
Actually, yes. I had not seen it, but I heard about it. A Mountie that was there before me, the same thing had happened to, I believe it was a male, and then I actually heard afterwards, after I had resigned, that it happened to another Mountie after I left.
Okay, so can you take us through the process or the events that led to you deciding that, you know what, I worked this hard, I did it twice, all of a sudden these things happened, here's why I did what I did.
The events that led to me resigning, I was actually losing my mental compliance with normalcy. I had become depressed, and I had become suicidal. I had held a revolver to my head at least 3 times, and the only thing that brought me back every time was my children. My parents actually had to drive out to Alberta, where I was stationed, and keep me grounded enough to keep me going in life because it was that bad. I went for help within the force itself, and it wasn't there. I went to the force's psychiatrists who were mocking me, asking me if I'm still seeing pink elephants, things like this. I would reach out for support within an organization, Canada's National Police Force, that pays so much money to create a Mountie, to destroy it within the organization, I could not believe this was happening.
Now, just to be clear, was this happening with people that you were working with day to day, or with the sort of superior command? Who was sort of targeting you in terms of bullying or intimidation or whatever they were doing?
Absolutely, I can answer that easily. The guys that I worked with, and they were guys on my platoon, were amazing. And I know your names well, and I know who you are, and they were supportive. It was management. This was solely a managerial move because of an issue that they had seen as an issue and decided to target me out of the environment. It got to the point where the day that I actually resigned, the corporal who was in the room the day I resigned jumped out of his chair to give me a hug of joy. Now, if you can imagine a broken down single mother, now suicidal with bulimia that I have just conquered. Actually, I've been a year free now of bulimia. You can do it. It's possible, but it's difficult. To see the reaction of them jumping out of their chairs in joy, when really they should be sorrowful and they should be looking for solutions to keep the person there. They've invested so much money.
Yeah. So you left the force, you came back to Thunder Bay?
Yes.
Okay, and then what led you to sort of say, you know what, I'm going to take these guys on. I'm going to fight the Mounties. What led you to that, and tell us about that process.
That process was quick, but I can remember it clearly. I was bedridden in my bed for approximately close to a month, maybe 3 weeks. And one night, Catherine Galliford, who we've all heard of, she was the first Mountie that I know of that came out against the RCMP, was on the national news. And my mother, I was at home at the time, came to my bedroom, knocked on the door, and told me to come watch something. And she said, "You're not a quitter. You're a fighter. They did you wrong. She's standing up for herself. So can you."
Wow, that's amazing. So, next steps. Okay, so you said to yourself, "Wow, that's amazing. I'm watching this lady on TV. She's fighting back." What went through your head? Who did you contact, and how did you know who to contact, or how did you know the next steps?
Fortunately, I had met a wonderful person who has been a big part of my life. His name is Alexander Zaitsev, and he is a local lawyer here in the city. However, he had since retired, and he did primarily like personal injury. So I contacted him. I let him know my story. I broke down. I told him what happened. He had not known about anything until I had seen Catherine Galliford. He instantly told me, "You're nuts. You're crazy. You can't do this on your own. You can't sue the RCMP.
Yeah, okay.
If we do anything, it has to be a class action. You need to find more females in your position."
Oh.
He asked me to find females. He asked me to get maybe 25 that week, or that month, and I got 25 to 30 that week. So it just blew him away how fast.
Okay, and since that, like, you just started phoning people, or did you know people that had gone through this experience? And did people start reaching out to you after when word got out?
Yeah, so what happened was I instantly grabbed my laptop and I Googled Mounties in distress, Mounties with issues. I was still not in my right mind. I had still gone through, I had cut my hair short, I had dyed it a zillion times. I was on my way to go to Los Angeles. I was not in my right mind, but I'm like, I'll find people. And I did. And I just Googled people. I was invited into a private face group chat, which they've spoken about many times, even on the national news. And from there, I met some wonderful ladies, and we bonded, and I asked them, I threw it out there, "Do you want to join me in a class action lawsuit against the RCMP?" And the answer was yes.
And how many have joined that lawsuit that you know of? How many have joined?
Since?
Since, yeah.
The quote is 500.
500 were involved in this latest lawsuit?
500 up to this date.
Wow. All RCMP?
All RCMP. They may be, some of them, I'm not sure how their numbers work. Some of them may be civilians who work within the RCMP. Okay. They could be some of the clerks. They could be some of the people that answer the phone. But we're 500 females right now.
Okay, so now let's fast forward. You hear about this settlement. What goes through your mind, and what are you thinking?
I'm thinking, like, 6 years later, something that Alexander Zaitsev, Christopher Watkins, and myself started. I can remember us at Tungsten Street at Christopher Watkins' office being interviewed by the national news for this class action, and we're going to start. And we're sitting here now, and I'm seeing the commissioner apologize. I'm in awe. I'm on cloud nine. I've been on cloud nine since the announcement. I haven't really slept much. So
now, a lot of people think that there's someone else, like the lady that actually is named in that lawsuit, who represents all of you. They think she started, but it really started with you in Thunder Bay.
That's right, and that's been gravely huge for me and myself and my family and my daughters, because they've seen the pain and they've almost lost their mother, and they've seen the bulimia, they've seen the PTSD, and I need the world to know, and I'm going to ensure that this happens, that Alexander Zaitsev is the first person I approached. He then found Christopher Watkins, and I know Juan Kim was involved from Toronto, and then we found David Klein, who chose Janet Merlot, a Nanaimo native in British Columbia, as our rep plaintiff. And Janet's great. Like, I encourage that they choose the best person to be rep plaintiff.
Makes sense.
But at the same time, please don't forget that a single mother, broken down, suicidal, actually made the first call.
Okay, so Heli, I'm going to say to you now, what do you want out of this? What do you want this? You got the apology. I'm sure they'll give you some kind of monetary settlement, because obviously you deserve it. They took you out of your livelihood for a number of years, put you through hell. At the end of the day, what do you want to do? Do you want to go back? Would you go back?
I would go back. I am excited to say that I am a proud mother of 2 fabulous children, and I have Cecil strength, and I'm physically fit, and I'm getting my emotional and mental strength back to 100%. I mean, it's a daily struggle, but I'm working on it. And I would like to challenge the commissioner right now. If you want to prove real change to everybody, especially the females out there who you've apologized to, if you want to prove real change, then prove it by a way that you would take somebody back. I may be the one who started this, I may be the thorn in your side, but I'm also the one who wants change as bad as you do, if that's what you really mean.
Wow, that's pretty powerful. And if he were to do that, I think that would send a strong message to the RCMP and to Canada that, you know what, they have changed.
I agree. Wouldn't that be the ultimate message, to have a former member who was kicked out of her career to be brought back in? And I would do it. And I would do it with the strength and the respect and the compassion that they taught me. And it doesn't have to be in the same position per se, because I know that my children have seen horrific events in the way that their mother has gone through. So it can be in whatever perspective they want. It can be on a hiring committee. It can be on investigating wrongdoings. I'm an intelligent girl. I put myself through a course in Toronto. It was 1-year-long paralegal program. I am now a Law Society accredited paralegal, and wow. I have my own business doing that. I'm doing very well. I also work with Mr. Watkins in court every day. So I'm still in the legal system. That's
awesome. Awesome to hear, and I'm glad that you're doing it. Obviously, you show a lot of Sisu character, perseverance, strength, determination, etc. I just want to say, Heli, good luck to you. I hope everything works out well. It's an honor and privilege to have you here today on Thunder Bay Live. I'm hoping that the message does get out there, and I hope that they will do the right thing.
Thank you.
They've taken the first step. I think that's very positive.
I'm very happy.
For a police force to do that,
yeah.
That's a big step. Now, I understand, just one final thing I want to get across, that other officers in other fields have contacted you, like local police, OPP, have contacted you.
Yeah.
And what has your been advice to them, or what have you said to them?
It's so touchy right now, and it's a sensitive topic, but my advice to them has been this. And my advice to anybody, whether you're male, female, you're being harassed and bullied in any environment, whether it be your personal life, your work life, is this. Stand up for yourself, speak to somebody, look for help. Speak to somebody that will listen. Try again, keep trying, and if you need to call me at any time, I will help people. But you really need to stand up for your rights, and if you need to make a change and you need to leave that position to save your sanity, then do so. If you need to start a class action in your force, then do so. But make change, because unless you make that change, no one's going to do it for you.
Okay. Heli?
One more thing,
yeah.
and this is huge for me, I just have to say. I'm only here today due to my family and my friends and my children. That's why I believe I'm here today, and to God. So to God be all the glory.
That's very well said. Heli, thank you very much for being here today. It takes a lot of courage, first of all, to come on here and say what you have to say, especially the people that are watching and people that are going to be watching this episode. I don't even know what else to say. I just want to say that I'm glad to have you here. Thunder Bay Live, talking to Heli here,
Thank you.
who was the founder of this lawsuit and has stood by it, gone through hell and back, and managed to succeed, and is obviously going to continue doing a fantastic job no matter where she lands. Thank you. Take care. Keep watching Thunder Bay Live here at Thunder Bay.